Welcome back, everyone, to the OGA Pit Minor Close Qualifier. And we've already had our first series of the tournament for Latin America. Of course, Team Liquid with a stomp of a match going up against, of course, TGM. And yeah, it was nothing short of obliteration.
It was pretty hard to watch at moments. Through fingers and through hands, they 2-0'd Gens Mortis, and I guess Gaming are going to see if they can duplicate that yet again. We're in a match where it is a known LATAM team. Gaming obviously currently first in CL, had an absolute stormer of a season against NGDP, another team that came through from the open qualifiers that we haven't really seen anything of.
No, another unknown quantity in this tournament, but still, there's going to be something new that they can show us. Hopefully a little bit more than kind of what TGM put up against Team Liquid, but that was Team Liquid, and Gaming, they're no Team Liquid.
No, well, it's the hard thing to kind of call about this is how much of this is a team that's unknown, completely unknown, going up against tactics, and how much of this is, that kind of mix of things. But I guess we'll have to see. It's in Gaming's court to lose, I think is the easiest way of setting it. But will it go the full stretch of the 3 maps? Will they even be able to pull it to an overtime, unlike anything we just saw, unfortunately?
Well, Gaming, they have played best of 3s before. They've played them, of course, inside of the Rally qualifiers and also in last season's relegations for Season 9, where they went up against the Red Devils, and they're now known as Elevate, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And they played a full best of 3, and it went 8-7, 7-3, and 8-7. So they do have experience in that kind of overtime scenario. So Gaming, we're kind of pitching here as to be the favourites against the unknown quantity, of course.
Yeah, we'll have to see, obviously, how it kind of comes to fruition. Obviously, we've also got the map bans now. Again, it's what do you pull out of an arsenal in a ban? And the first one to kind of go, it's very quick, obviously, not wasting any time there. What do you think? Gaming, they're 100% on a ban on Clubhouse as well.
Well, if they're 100% on a ban, right, especially if you look at Challenger League, we're kind of expecting that to follow through because they still are also playing Challenger League. So they're not going to want to show other teams what else they have in store in terms of map bans. So there is that thing that we may see kind of come into where teams want to try and save stuff as much as they can, especially for the Challenger League teams. And we'll see that more commonly known whenever we move over to North America and even in towards Europe, especially in towards Europe with the Challenger League teams that we know are excelling in there.
Yeah, well, obviously, Gaming now take out Clubhouse. This leaves big maps for them like Coastline, Consulate, and Cafe still on the board. Maps where they have had a very, very solid showing. And at this point, again, if you're NGDP, you're trying to pick your poison because even if you go to the maps like Bank, like Villa, like Border, which I would recommend as that third one as Border, you're still going to be in a bit of a tight spot there because they're tactically driven maps. They're big maps. They allow a lot of roam. And as we just saw, they're tough to go up against some solid teams on.
The last play day in Latin America for Challenger League, Gaming, they played 2 best of 1s, and it was both Villa. So they played two same maps in the same night, which we don't really see all too often in terms of the new format that Challenger League has, and they were both draws as well. So Villa, a map that Gaming has played, but probably not the result they were looking for, is 2 draws.
Well, there's the first pickup, and it is going to be Cafe. And for me, that's a very bold pick. You've really got to like the playstyle there.
I think it's an easy map, though, for teams. It kind of relays into everybody knows how to play the map, because it's very simple, Fluke. There's not a whole lot of stuff that we look at and think, hey, that's pretty complicated. Everything for Cafe is standard, to the T. Everything is.
Yeah, I think, obviously, it comes down to how confident you are on that, because if you go into those grounds unconfident, it can very quickly turn into a nightmare scenario. It's very quick to have attacks pulled apart. And at this point, obviously, Gaming, they still have Consulate. Well, they're going to opt to go to Villa instead. Again, I think that's a very confident pick for them. I think, obviously, it's statistically not been not been one of their best maps in terms of some of the others, but at the same time, it's a big map for the region. It's one they're comfortable with.
And also to note, they did play Guardians in those 2 best of 1s on Villa where they both drew. Guardians, another team that is also taking part inside of this tournament, so we'll see them. I believe that they play the next Latin America play day, if I'm not mistaken, so we still have yet to see from them. But, for Gaming, Villa's a pretty standard map, and, if they have mixed results on it, then hey, you may as well go for it and try and see if you can improve in those possible mistakes they made against Guardians.
Well, obviously, it's now just ban and the decider. Again, I think, Coastline is going to be the one that gets taken out there. I mean, if it's Border, I guess that plays to the favor of NGDP. Yeah. Whereas for me, a Bank would play to the favor of, Gaming.
Well, NG, they get to pick which one they want. and there's the border. So a very open map that a lot of teams can play. I say a lot of teams. Every team can play that map because it's so simple, so basic. It's, one of the longest standing kind of map pools there that we have, with Border being in it. The only one joining that would be Bank, which have been the only two since being added in, haven't really went through much of a change. You could argue, Concept's been there for a while. Concept, they did have a change. They had that map, or that bomb site being added into that map as well. So overall, very standard one for Border. But of course, for the teams, they have to try and get through the first two maps before they start looking towards that third.
Yeah, and for the first one to kind of be one where it's cafe, or as we said, it can be aggressive, it can be kind of fluid, and as I said, yeah, Gaming have a good track record on this map. It is down for me to see what surprises NGDP can pull out of the bag on this map. But operator bans. What do you take out of the arsenal of a team you should, at this point, if you're a fan of the series, be familiar with from NGDP's side?
I'm guessing basic bans would kind of include like a Jackal. I could see definitely being banned away. Another Thatcher. Is this something that's going to be like really common? Is these Thatcher bans? And on Cafe, nonetheless, not surprising because Kaid now can be a great influencer going in towards this map. I've seen a lot more Thatcher bans recently. Don't know why teams kind of try to emphasize that instead of, Nomad, for example, which I would thought would be an even better attacker to try and neutralize on this specific map with the windows and the jump outs that defenders have available to them. And even, the staircases, rotations are everything in Cafe.
Well, Castle, it looks like they want to kind of restrict, the amount of restriction that can go on inside the game itself, force them to not be able to funnel and allow themselves a little bit more fluidity with the attack and with the pressure of utility that they can bring to the fight. The fourth ban, and yeah, Gaming are taking their time on this. They've been really slow to actually decide what they want to remove from this firefight, but is it actually going to be the Echo? A fair pick, but obviously you kind of look at what that still leaves up. Obviously there's all the vertical control that you could ever possibly want. Thatcher, again, is quite, I would say, often limited in a lot of the points that he can push here. There's only really one or two places, but I guess when you're looking at potentially using it against Maestro cameras, which we've seen be very popular and seen be a way of removing them in this region already today, I guess it'll turn out how it turns out. But Bar is going to be the first hold on this top floor, one where you see some hard destruction, and that's what they're going to bring. And already, for the first time today, we're seeing Monty in the hands of Gold Striker.
Monty, intriguing prospect to play if you look towards that top floor. So whenever I said that Cafe was very basic and very simple to understand, and that comes down to the fact that you can only push red stairs one way. You can only push in through that single door or through the breach. There's no other options. East side pushes don't exist. They don't work here in Cafe because you're limited to two windows, and swinging into a window is always going to be risky as heck whenever you think about that someone can easily hear the sound repel and go for a quick pre-fire. You can't do anything whenever you're in that animation. So everybody always plays towards the west side. You drop the red hatch, you open up in towards that piano, and then you just push from there. That's the way it's going to go every round, Fluke.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about these kind of balances and this kind of battles and maps. And again, I'm curious as to how aggressive, Gaming are going to be on this roam, how fluid they want to be, because what we saw previously from a very confident Tier 1 team was they decided to play on the map. And Gaming, they're looking on that Tier 1. They've made those battles before. They are in a very confident place, but overconfidence was the kind of death knell for the rounds that Liquid lost, and against a team like this, where statistically it's a bit more of a balanced fight in some regards, it could be something that swings the other way. Mentalities are always a big thing too. But they're setting up their defenses. They're going to see how this first round goes. A fair bit of information there with the Valkyrie. They're opening a lot of sight lines and a lot of angles on the top floor as well, as we see NGDP already suffering damage. Conte from below.
So roam game galore for Gaming. There's a lot of people scattered around the area. You can see the Legion towards the bakery, and Vigil, of course, there, and the reading room side of things. But they're not really together, so they can't form that much of a force in terms of if someone gets kind of taken in towards. So they need to try and work together more, and it has cost them here because there's no refrag being tossed away there by Gaming straight off the bat. So it's just going to be a solid kill for NG, and nobody's really there to try and get things back in favor for Gaming.
Well, you can see they're kind of struggling so far, at least with this, but the amount of damage that's kind of flicked across NGDP, it's just, you know, first round shakes from the hands of Gaming, unable to get the lockdown on the frags and get the lockdown on the kills. Here comes the swing in from the Blackbeard. It looks like they want to take this very slow and steady and make sure they don't suffer a fate of a silly kill, and they're going to rotate out of Cigar and just kind of give that ground over. The Thermite is looking for a way inside. Now they have a bit more control, but again, the concern of the rotations and the concern of the roam means that they need to get this Nomad in to get some control faster rather than later. The C4 brings it back to a balanced 4-4 as they get Gold Striker and start to rotate a bit closer. Great wait and bait there for them to get closer, and wow, there's the Blackbeard and there's the front of that push off the table.
Jaeger did see the head there of the Capitao and didn't decide to go for the quick re-peek. Instead, will still stay alive inside a freezer. And talking about freeze, here he comes up in towards that red stairs. Wonder if there's a Nomad waiting for him, which would be the obvious thing for NG to try and do here. The Thermite charge goes off, and now Yangi's moves straight in. He sees the sledge, but still doesn't continue on with the firefight, and still missing these shots, but it doesn't matter, as Vigil has eliminated nearly everybody from NGDP. Down to Leak. He's up on the rooftop. Ah, what a round from the Vigil.
Yeah, Gaming, and that was the roam game that we talked about at the very beginning of this, and how it plays such a big factor on not only this map, but on this region as well, and that was it in full glorious swing there. A pretty solid first round for Gaming that initially started on the back foot, but can they kind of keep that momentum going if Freezow doesn't have such an outstanding round as he had then?
If you look at the way that NGDP were set up, they did everything pretty standard. They got a quick, aggressive kill. They killed, of course, a roamer who was lurking in around that downstairs area. Then they moved into opening up the breach. They pushed in. Then they went in for the second breach. That got opened up. But at that point, everybody just kind of stood still, and then the Vigil came in. First question is, where was the air jab?
Well, that's it. I commented on it when she entered and where they kind of had that control, and it was nowhere, sadly. It was just not really where they needed it to be, and from that point as well, you've got to kind of think they put a lot in the Blackbeard push.
And even if they're not leaving an air jab because they feel as if it needs to be used somewhere else, you still had a man on hatch.
Yep.
There was still a guy on the rooftop. At that moment, was Capitao really needed for peeking the skylight? Sure, you could argue that if he gets a firebolt in, could eliminate the guy inside the freezer, but that's not really an issue. Whenever you already have that freezer wall wide open, being able to drone in and then simply pre-fire the guy lying in there, Capitao was absolutely useless there. He did absolutely nothing.
I think that's one of the big things that kind of differentiate some of these teams, is their adaptation. Their ability to, when things start to go a certain way, find a way to make it work, find a way to bring that Capitao back to the kind of forefront, find another way to find a way in, and I said the word find there a lot. And when Blackbeard was kind of taken off the table, it seemed like that froze up NGDP, which towards that point had seemed almost systematic in their approach. They'd gotten one of the roamers, they were trying to close down and try and keep control of the angles, but in the meantime, Gaming adapted well. They got the C4 from underneath. They kind of trusted in some of the processes they'd already set up, and from that point onwards, it was just par for the course for them as they let the Vigil loop back round and bloody murder his way across. But I guess that's something we'll start to see as the game progresses, how much NGDP can adapt to Gaming, and well, whether Gaming can keep themselves on the front foot.
I haven't cast at Latin America in a very long time, and I forget how stupidly aggressive their roamers are.
Oh, their roamers are the textbook they are everywhere. And it's one of the things I really, really love about the LATAM region is they're so good at keeping the entire map hot and active. Like,
not just shot Thermite.
Yeah. That was peculiar. Maybe they expected a run out, but it is actually Maverick who suffers the first death, and PDN follows up with a second. It's just going to aggressively push one, finds another, but no! Zafia at least gets to pin the death of Thermite on someone else. They don't quite catch the man rotating. Leak's reaction's not quite on point, and there is the Goomba Stomp from Bandit who just jumps out and is still looking for another one.
I can't do this. This is way too much for a lonely European boy to cast. This is too much, Fluke. I can't.
As I was saying, What I love about LATAM as a region is the whole map. All of it is dangerous. All of it is hot. All of it is active. They refuse to let any ground be controlled or locked in. Europe is the opposite of that. Europe is, we take it piece by piece. It's a puzzle. It's Risk, the board game. This is like the most chaotic board game ever, but it is so exciting when everything starts to fall together.
This must be horrible to play against. If this is what LATAM is like every match, it must be terrifying to play against like a really solid team.
Yeah, it's the whole, like, it's the thing is their style is so hard to master, but yet so definitive that it's their whole region as a kind of affluent force is something that is just, it's impossible to replicate, but amazing to kind of watch. Now we go to what is often the third point now. It's the least popular point of the kind of rotation since the fix, and Yangi's just going to let everyone else do the hard work and sit back and relax and enjoy some of his time.
So we go to our third bomb site for Yeg Gaming, and they have decided to go with the mining and dining combo rather than the typical reading, which a lot more teams have kind of favored in terms of the new update that Cafe did receive. And mostly because I kind of feel that reading in the previous version of Cafe always had potential. It was just the big hatch right in the middle of the room which kind of let it down, but since that's now been removed, it looks a lot more tastier to take if you're a team who wants to go for their third bomb site. Valkyrie cameras as well, pretty atypical ones. There's nothing too out of the ordinary with where she's from those. It just gives them early intel of anything, which then they can then relay to their crazy jump out masters who can just do anything they want really at this stage.
Yeah, rules don't matter when you are LATAM. GUI, is that GUI or GUI? I'm not quite sure.
That's Guilherme, is it not?
Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah, Guilherme. Yeah, there's a full name. I'm still learning.
GUI. What a name.
Well, I saw it and I just reminded of GUI mines, but they're being a bit more concerned here, and that is a great pick. Imagine being that aggressive. GCR suffers the fate with the MPX, which is a very big fragging gun in this region as well, and again, they're just trying to hold angles and make sure they keep a bit of control here. Leak suffers a huge amount of damage on the Zephyr. It's going to make popping in a trouble, especially when you're still up against Elysian, as well as the impacts that have already been pretty tricky to deal with today, as Conte finds their way into the top floor and is ready to start getting a bit of control up here. Again, the concern about the roaming, the concern about the rotation is real as Cav tries it but gets caught around the cigar bench, and Conte manages to lock them off without suffering any damage.
So yeah, Gaming, their attempted roam hasn't went to their plan, but there is still members alive for Yeah Gaming who can make this happen. Legion can constantly make those goo mines, and well, talked about potential. Here comes the Jaeger, but swiftly being shut down by Conte again, and another one tries to line up in towards the pillars, but quickly we'll see Guilherme scurry away in towards that reading room corridor, and now we'll have to turn his attention towards Habana, who does get caught up by the alibi ping, but missed shots from the MX4 Storm. Just, oh, Godzilla takes full advantage of that.
Well, they're going for the plant now, and it's just down to Pedrin, who saw a body, but is actually just going to focus for now on anyone that might be on the rotation. There is the ping, and there is two people. The other one gets down in the background through the window. Ibana slipped and suffered a fate. There's the Valkyrie cam offering spots, so they know that the point is not here, and, well, it's good hatch control to be able to drop that. And GGP managed to take one round from, well, pretty balanced pushing there. I thought that was a very, very nice attack, and obviously they dropped the Valkyrie from the window very quickly, and then from then it seemed just controlled.
Yeah, of course, spawn peeking, high risk, high reward is a massive thing for most teams. If you want to try and go for that opening frag off a spawn kill, if it works, it's absolutely amazing. Everybody loves you in the team in terms of the communications. Everybody thinks you're the best player in the world.
Yep.
But if you die, then you're pretty roasted, aren't you?
It's not good. It is very bad. Bar and Cocktail Lounge we go to next. And, you know, this was a point that, again, was very comfortable for them. They lost the opening frag, but from then, with a C4 underneath, they were able to quickly shut it down. Blackbeard is back on the table in the hands of Gold Striker, who so far has been unfortunate and unable to get off that 0 kills. And again, that was something that seemed like it was leading the kind of tip of the spear and aggressively pushing, and then from then it just fell apart, unfortunately.
So back up to the top floor is where we'll head. Actually going to see no Vigil this time, even though it worked out pretty well for Vrizau, but still. Bandit being chosen rather than, you know, like the Kaid, which we kind of expected with the Thatcher being gone, but equally I think Bandit can do a good job, and whenever NGDP are simply relied on, of course, the Thermite with the Habana ban coming in, then it forces him down that avenue off, trying to bring that denial, of course. No Thatcher as well to add on top of things, so he can just slap down these Bandit charges, but those can actually get shot, though, from the Skylight, which is the only thing he needs to be cautious of course.
Yeah, it's the thing, and so far we've seen very good control of Skylights attempted and good control of kind of drop-downs as well. So it does show that NGDP are communicating well, they're working as a team and able to shut this down. Let's see if, yeah, Gaming overexert themselves, if they, I say, as the man jumps out the window and looks for a spawn peak, but doesn't quite get it, but... Well, they're not slowing down. They're happy to keep swinging with this aggressive style and keep swinging with this aggressive... And to be fair, actually, thinking about it, he was the first one to die previously, so I think they shut that down last time around, and he still just attempted it.
So taking much more of a slower approach for NGTP. They kind of expect, I think, yeah, Gaming to go for these spawn kills and these quick jump outs, so they're taking their time with really how they're applying themselves. There's also cautious there. Oh, I was about to say about Valkyrie cameras, but Legion just throws an impact, and somehow Conte, he's been caught out from it. And now you see Gold Striker, he's terrified at this stage.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Obviously, A, you've lost your Nomad, you've lost your control of the roam either way. B, you've lost your gun that is looking at it. And C, you've lost a player that has been very, very good for the team on the round that they won. And, you know, yeah, Gaming aren't going to slow down. They're going to keep the aggression. Petrin should be well aware that that is going to be watched, and he's just going to go for it anyway. Quick looks, and no, they're not covering it at the right angle and the right time. Almost gets the Thermite and almost suffers again, and it's just going to peek it again. They've dropped down. They're holding on the bottom now. They've refused to take the firefight, and maybe they're going to rotate off, but you never really know with Legion. Freezyao is just going to hard push the Blackbeard and drops him through the shield, trying some tricksy rolling down stuff, but unfortunately not tricksy enough hobbitses as they try to regain control. Pidrin does finally find the kill on that Thermite, and now with a minute 20 and a 5 versus 2, what can these two fraggers do?
Godzilla looking to rampage on in towards those hatches, but nobody from Yet Gaming actually peeking, surprisingly, waiting for the goo mine, and there's the intel gathered just from the sound queue. Pidrin also got another one there, but yeah, Yet Gaming. What more can you say except expected on this particular defense, where it is extremely difficult so far for NGTP to actually make their way in. If you look at that round compared to the first one, yeah, Gaming stopped them a lot more efficiently compared to the first time.
It seemed like NGDP were trying to be a bit more slow and steady with their hold and with their push. Obviously, Blackbeard was holding an angle at first, and they had the rotations and the jump outs covered. Not that it seemingly mattered, but they had that covered, and instead they were trying to let themselves get a bit more control visually before they started to close down. Whereas in the first round, they got into the building pretty quickly, they got into Piano and the hatch pretty quickly, got to the top of the stairs, and then from then on it was closed down in and amongst that area. It seems like the more time you give Yeah Gaming, the more they're going to try and take.
Kitchen, yeah, again up for Yeah Gaming. What can they cook up? Last time, it was a baffling round. Well, from my standpoint, maybe not for you Brazilian fans out there watching, but certainly for me, I was taken back quite a bit, Fluke. I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, I remember last year when I was casting OGA in LATAM, and exactly the same reaction. I had Sternab by my side who was like, yep, this is par for the course, and I was there kind of just shouting about all the lunacy, saw some of the most amazing plays that have stuck with me all this time, and this is just day one of LATAM as well. Like, this is a region that is so electric and ramps up more and more and more. Like, they go like Super Saiyan by the final play days. It's absolutely unreal what these guys can do. And, hey, well, I'll just say be ready for it, as ready as you can possibly get. Yangi looking for the aggressive spawn peaks yet again, trying to hold the big angles from the big window, not hiding that at all. It is something where it'll obviously be known that they're holding it, and there is Thermite slowly, potentially creeping, throws the drone like a smart cookie. But can they actually escape this before Yangi just gets bored and decides to jump out the window?
Looking for any heads that he can. Oh, but it's his own head that gets taken right off his shoulders. Conte finds the head onto the Rook. Yeah, Gami also picking up the mirror this time around and playing it very aggressively. You know, if you look in towards that bakery area, they have it directly in front of that double door. So they're going to try and kind of force NGTP to either waste some utility to get rid of that, or force them into the clutches of their dock located in towards that dining restaurant kind of area. Also, you still have a lot of roamers. So I think there's only one guy on site, which is literally Pidgeon, and everybody else is out on the hunt.
Well, you may as well be at this point, keeping it droned and keeping it active, and with less than 2 minutes left, and obviously, well, now it's a 4-4, they're going to find themselves hopefully not stumbling the same way they did last time they were in a similar situation in the very, very first round, because as soon as I said they start to slow and they start to stumble, yeah, Gaming lives up to the capitalization of their name and charges through and takes bodies and blood as much as they can hold. Conte has obviously been a very big part of the ground NGDP has been able to get with some very nice shooting, pushing alongside Gold Striker and trying to get this second floor area locked off. Freezao is still not too far away, playing on the mining and dining side, and Dewey is on cameras below alongside obviously the Valkyrie that does still have Nitro and Pocket too, so if they do start approaching the soft floors that litter the top of this point, that could be a very, very nice pickup.
Conte now creeping downstairs along with Gold Striker. And time is of the essence here for NGTP. They need to start working their way in, using destructibility, because there's no point bringing the buck if you're not going to use the skeleton key available. But you see GCR ready and waiting with the Nitro Cell. Gold Striker did eliminate Jaeger, of course, not Jaeger, it was the Doc this time that Guilherme switched on towards. But Pidgeon quickly is he was in sight a minute ago. What's he doing upstairs? They've just swapped places here with GCR, and well, he's going to have to rely on his own, because I don't think Freezao is going to get out here alive whenever free players are breathing down his neck. But he is wasting time. That's the more important thing, and nobody's really found him out yet. So GCR is going to have to play fast and furious against the remaining players trying to push their way in towards the bomb site. Will do so from the freezer. Tags him up. He also has a Nitro Cell available. Oh, the nade gets tossed right at his feet, but dances away from that. Tango. Ping's constantly being at it in there, goes to C4, oh, but he overshoots it. And Thermite has also opened up, but there's Freeze, he comes in with the rotate in towards the restaurant, 2v2 now, but not enough time. The diffuser's still not being picked up, has to go for the plant. Conte, can he stick it? Yes, he can. Now all the pressure on towards GCR. Can he make this happen? He just has to swing around. Buck peeks up, oh, what a shot. Gold Striker goes down, GCR misses a shot, Deagle comes out, but no, still NGDP. They stay alive. Conte, oh, by the skin of their teeth.
That was unbelievable, the close down from Freeze to find a way out of the train, and then the swing from Conte at the beginning of the round. I said he has been a very big factor for this team so far, and look at it statistically, but look at it in visual play as well. Unbelievable clutch there to swing around and pick up the man pushing from the side, get the diffuser down, and then get the body himself as well. Really having a great showing so far for NGDP, but one more defensive round. If they can bring it 3-3, that can put them in a very, very nice place as we swap over to their defenses. Going to go back down to Kitchen, and yeah, Gaming going to try and hold it for a second time. Well, at least in a row. Potentially not going to be as aggressive as we'd previously seen.
For Cafe, we expect a 4-2 split. Defense taking the 4, and then attack taking the other 2. And then we kind of look at it and think, okay, if they can do that, the other team also should be able to pill a 4-2, and that's where we get to the overtime period. But if NGDP take this round and they go for the free split, then they're looking a lot better shape going into the defense.
Yeah, just for this map as well, for how kind of fresh but aggressive it can be, for the kind of benefit that it gives the defenders. You know, I think they're in a very, very nice place in terms of holding this and in terms of locking it down. If, yeah, Gaming put this in a 4-2, they can at least swing some momentum their way before they're forced to go onto the attack. But so far, as I said, NGDP, Conte is really just holding them in this game and keeping them alive for me right now.
I really thought that last round should have went for Gaming. You know, that Bandit was in the perfect position, stopped the plant, but still somehow Conte got it down. Gotta give credit to him.
Yeah,
really great personal flair there.
Having a stormer of the game. Now they're taking, obviously, they're still aggressively holding the top for now, setting up Legions and setting up those Valkyrie cameras, potentially going to try and catch a C4 on this top floor. Entry, no, actually just going to leave that for the birds and rotate and mess up a plant instead. Pedrin is upstairs with Legion still, so they can get some information and destroy some music, and Freezao has rotated off the Bandit to the Jaeger. And again, just trying to get themselves balanced, as it looks like there's a bit of pace coming from the NGP shutdown against this bakery side.
I like the shield. It's a really strong one, especially whenever you're playing that guy with a shotgun. And even if that wall gets opened up, we can still see Yangi. He can go for the SMG-11 spray, and that still gives him that, of course, that mid-range gunfight. And that's why Mute is a great anchor. You know, you have that flexibility of the primary and the secondary, which combos oh so well. And also, Toxic Babes can be tossed over to try and deny a lot of things. No Bandit being chosen here from Gaming, even though that was the kind of obvious pick. Whenever Thatcher's off the board, you could have denied the Thermite. And whenever literally they only have the Thermite, it makes a lot of sense, but there we go. Leak and Godzilla jump onto it, and everything is just collapsed now for Gaming. NGDP have just walked in. They've figured out what Gaming go for, and that's a very heavy roam game. Vigil, you're not going to do much from up there. You need to go and help Hermie, who has downed one, but did get eliminated nonetheless. Pedrin, such low HP. If you sneeze on him, he'll probably die, but the bullets do the job nonetheless. And a free split for NGDP. 2 kitchens in a row.
Well, Leak's done a bit of a renaissance from when he accidentally shot his own man to getting a 3K that round. That was a fantastic push. As he said, they read into what Gaming was doing, and they utilized that knowledge. They broke straight through onto point, made a lot easier by the missing kind of bandit charges or Kaid that would otherwise at least slowed and stowed them a little bit. Again, a little mistakes coming from the side of Gaming as well. Popping up behind the shield that was otherwise in a nice place and trying to be a bit aggressive with it and not quite keeping the control that they otherwise could have very easily. Gaming, now this is where you've got to prove your CL status here before you get knocked out by an underdog. But everyone loves an underdog story. 3-3, the split on Cafe as we swap to the defense side for a Tachanka to be put on the table.
What the... I'm confused. Look, help me out here. Why is there a Tachanka that's been locked in?
Well, it's a roaming operator.
Why is this here?
Region. I don't know. I'm really curious to see where they throw this. Obviously, there are some sightlines. What I'm going to guess is just down at the bottom of our screen right there in kitchen. So now it's in the top right of our screen, looking out towards the entrance. If they can keep that a little bit safer from the side and the wide peak there, where those big bags of flour are, looking westerly. That's where I'm assuming he's going to put that turret.
I'm really interested now, because this will be a good one.
And they've opened the hole there as well.
They're spawn peeking with this.
They're going to keep it, so as soon as they swing around to the door, Tachanka is going to open up. They've got that wide sight line. He's going to set the turret up here by these bags of flowers. Yes, he is. He has the protection of the half wall. This is, if left undroned, going to be amazing.
Yeah, this is not going to work, just to let you know, Fluke. In case anybody was unsure, this is not going to work. Well, if it does, I'll be completely shocked, but Gaming. Aggressive is the name of the game for LATAM, and they took everything they can to try and make that work with the quick jump in, Lion Charge, of course, going in. Looks to be that, Gaming, they're going to try and pressure in towards that red stairs as well, so to collapse on the man who may be lurking in towards the coat room, but on the elevated position, Freezao, he knows exactly where he is. Too many missed shots from the T5 SMG from Legion, and the F2 always wins that gunfight. Strong gun, that F2, Fluke.
Yeah, it's obviously losing a couple of bullets, but it's still going to be up there as one of the biggest guns in the game. There's, that 5 bullets is going to be enough to make Twitch mains complain, but everyone else still realizes just how beastly that gun is. I'm kind of sad that the Tachanka ruse has failed due to a ruse coming from the side of Gaming, instead pushing hard and aggressive and fast on the opposite side. Swung wide for the attempt there, but didn't quite catch anything as have actually slowed themselves down, try and drone, try and get a bit more control of everything that's going on. And at this point, it's just down to NGDP, lie down and point, see if they can catch anything. Gonna lob the Nitro over the top as Conte finds one, but Guillermo finds another, and Gold Striker does find Guillermo, and it is a and it's a big trade. Leak gives his attention away. They push hard against the man that's lying down. It's a 1 versus 2 with the diffuser almost being planted. And Tachanka, unfortunately, is just still a legend.
Give credit to them for picking him, but that's the reason why he's not picked. Because I don't know if you noticed, Fluke, it's a pretty useless gadget.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Where he work? Question mark for Tachanka?
Wheels. Wheels on the turret. Go round and round. And then you can use them as a roamer.
Minigun?
Minigun.
Explosive minigun.
Ubisoft, if you're listening and or hiring 2 ideas people.
If you want people to break your game and ruin it, sign us to it.
That's us.
That's us.
We promise we will ruin the game in a very quick space of time.
We will make him...
2 miniguns.
We'll just make him just inevitable. We'll make him Thanos.
Bar and cocktail lounge. We head up to 6th pick. Obviously, they've swung the momentum in their favor, but as we've seen, NGDP have been very good at listening, very good at learning, and very good at finding ways to try and get around stuff. They tried something bold. Let's hand it to them. They did attempt something, and unfortunately, the entire push came from the opposite side. If it had been a fast push on that main door, Tachanka would have got like 4 kills. Guaranteed. But unfortunately, we'll never know that at this point. Now they're going to try and hold upstairs with a fairly more standard loadout.
Yeah, standards. Say you have, of course, the Doc there. Kaid also being brought because they know, oh, look, there's no Thatcher. They're reliant on a Thermite. But just like Team Liquid on their attack, specifically in Villa, yeah, Gaming not opting to bring a hard breach. So we're expecting some more gunfights here, Fluke, and it's going to be a tough one. So could we see another quick rush from Gaming? Sure, that is a possibility for them with the playstyle that they've adapted. But it should be a lot easier, I kind of feel, for NGDP to kind of stop those rushes. They have Legion, which we know is the almighty stopper of rushes. No smoke, though, from NGDP, which is another operator that could have been a great addition. Doc as well is a good one. You can try and hold them off with the MP5, has that ACOG, can even steam yourself up, take more gunfights as much as you can. So yeah, Gaming, what's going to be their approach? Where will this come in from?
I'm curious to see what they do with the Lion as well. Frieza wasting no time. We've seen he's a very quick, coordinated, and pretty deadly operator when he needs to be. He's pushed all the way up red stairs, just taking as much ground as he can.
He is here.
Breaking through into Cigar as well, seeing if he can catch anyone by surprise, ignoring everything else. Hit the barbed wire as he's only slow and is worried about someone on the balcony edge. But again, there's people really close, can hear the impact, can see the pressure being applied, and is waiting for the rotation to catch the man by surprise. The Lion charge goes off as well. They're forcing as much information as they can. Does have frag grenades in pocket, but is going to rotate underneath, and Frieza is just trying to control as much. But here's the battle inside the train, and it is Kaid that reigns supreme and keeps all of that under his control. Gold Striker drops Frieza, and Godzilla drops PGRIN as well.
If Gaming are going to commit to the rush, they just need to go for it, because now they're at a disadvantage. Sure, we're going to see Yangi pull back 1, but there's still multiple players that he needs to eliminate. You'll hear me, he drops down, and in towards the red stairs he goes. Just looking for anything he can. Only one more EE1D as well. Just both these players teamed up together, but nothing really coming off it. So yeah, Game at this stage, they need to try and work their way in through upstairs, and especially in towards that Cigar. But whenever there is still players lurking around the downstairs, it's always going to be the big issue. And in towards New Bulk Lion will go, but just a glimpse there, you could see that Jaeger was playing in towards Pillars, looking specifically towards New Bulk. And it's because, of course, they have that diffuser. Legion is rotated, of course, can start creating goo mines, and there goes last EU1D, and you'll hear me not even ready to fight against that Jaeger. Quick spray comes in, but nothing comes off at 416. Surely it just marks, but no, somehow Lion, he's made that work, and even GCR with the F2 is downed and also killed the Doc. But Godzilla still has control of the diffuser. Conte eliminated, just down to Godzilla. One goo mine behind him goes off, so he knows that the prey is coming in towards him, but somehow, yeah, Gaming, the three of them have pulled that off. Great stuff from them.
Well, they managed to do it out of what was a mixed start, and I think there's a fun statistic of this so far. So out of the 8 rounds that we've seen, there has been 7 different people who've got the opening frag. Like, it's just completely shown how they're playing their playstyle, how aggressive it can be. The only person to get more than one opening frag was Pedrin, and everyone else has kind of jumped around the job and found different ways of their way into the building, and you can see it generally spread across the board as well. Obviously, Friesau and Pedrin are leading the frags on their team, and Conte and Lanza and Leek, who's unfortunately at the bottom of the board, but had a pretty mixed beginning to lead himself into some much better rounds. And, you know, it's such an aggressive playstyle. You never really know where the team is going to be and how they're going to try and get through to you. Clash picked a Valkyrie. It's two very different playstyles. I'm just trying to throw them off. As we go back up to Bar, they're not going to risk Kitchen again, and they're going to try Bar instead. And Friesau, he did go to Nook, and yeah, he's going to lock in on that instead. Potentially going to be as aggressive as we saw before, but maybe going to try and make their way a bit more into the point this time.
Still no hard breach. And also, more surprisingly, Mira being available for Cafe, an unusual prospect. And neither team has really played it all too often. We've only seen it the one time, coming in from Gaming on that one Kitchen hold.
Yeah, they seem to be much more wanting of, I guess, aggressive information, and I think that plays into their playstyle, as they know that a lot of these fights that they're going to have aren't going to happen in the rooms adjoining the point. They're not probably even going to happen on the floor adjoining the point for most of the time.
Oh, no, it happens outside in the snow, most of the time.
So, and you can't put a mirror window on the outside walls of this map, so they have to go with Valkyrie to have that usable information outside. Now, it's their play style, generally on this map especially, is they don't care for the immediate rooms. They know if the team's in the immediate rooms, then they've kind of already failed at that point, and they're just going to battle it out on the point itself. And otherwise, it's also fast and also aggressive, and they need the Valkyrie to kind of keep the fluidity of their playstyle.
I have never seen two series, also including the Liquid one, and even this one, with a severe lack of drones. Like, compared to what I'm used to seeing, drones don't exist in Latin America. It's like we're back in ESL Prem. Drones don't exist.
I mean, there's similar playstyles. I think this Nook is potentially about to get caught out here. Moves up slowly, and yeah, drone would help there. Dropped by a Valkyrie. Gold Striker gets Friesau, and again, after I... Wow, they are already in point and they're already pushing. There is a 2 versus 3 situation in the meantime of someone creeping up a set of stairs. It's all going on inside the point at this play there. Godzilla is having to rotate. Luanza in a big battle across the big doorway there. Trying to hold control. Has 2 impacts and the C4 goes off, but does not catch. Oh no, it's still in pocket. It was a different explosion, and there's the C4. Attempted to loop over the side. No, he's going to think better of it and actually hits the ground, but doesn't quite hit anybody. And now it's a post-plant situation in a 3-5 and a 3 versus 1. What can Godzilla, the mighty beast himself, do to bring this back with the sniper shotgun?
Not a whole lot, because he's at a standstill, hip fire shots, but somehow he's managed to get him with the last shot. Yeah, that's one for the highlight reel right there with that aim. But yeah, at this stage, locked out bomb site, no hope, no dreams. King Kong has kept him back at this stage, I think. Look.
I love the references, but Godzilla is just pre-firing angles and pre-firing, and there's that information coming in, but it is too little too late, as Gaming put themselves onto match point of map 1 with a 3-round buffer in between.
So we looked at the halftime and we were like, oh yeah, free. And GDP have a good chance whenever Cafe has some really strong defense available for the defenders.
Yep.
Gaming just threw a whole sack of wrenches into the works.
I mean, yeah, they are kind of showing their experience here, and attack is always one of the things that falls apart for a lot of teams, and a lot of inexperienced teams as well, as attack is often the harder thing to master.
Not in LATAM, it seems to be.
No, not in LATAM. In LATAM, nothing is impossible. Follow your dreams. If those dreams is shooting loads of people in a building.
I'm actually inspired by what you've said. I might just go move to Brazil.
Yeah, do it. It's a wonderful place. But in terms of this game continuing, we are on obviously match point. They are opting for a different point here. And the thing I wanted to say very briefly before was, after mentioning it, that was the first time this entire game that it's been the same person getting an opening frag against the same victim. Every other round has been just any name. Throw 2 names together.
What was Liquid game like?
Liquid game, out of all of it, I believe... in the second map on Villa, there was 4 different people who got opening frags. And then in the first map, there was 5 different people who got opening frags. So you know, this is still going, and this is 7 across it, but Nesk got 3 opening frags, Sexy Cake got 2 in the first map, and then in the second map, Nesk got 2, and Sexy Cake got 1, and Palu got 3, and that's pretty much par for the course, really.
Anywho, back to the final stand for NGDP, and yeah, Gaming, they're ready once again with this aggressive lineup. Still no hard breach for Yeah Gaming at all. So you know their playstyle. It's literally take your 1v1s. There's been very lackluster droning from Yeah Gaming, but we're not expecting that from them. We're expecting them to go in hard and heavy and hit them like a ton of bricks. And Gold Striker actually going to try and put up a bit of fight here as he's ready with a shotgun. Other guy also supporting him right behind him in towards the reading room. There goes the C4. That has to be a kill. No, doesn't even tag anybody.
They were too strong. It's something that we've seen about this. The C4s in this region, for me, are some of the best in the world.
Oh, yeah, I remember during Winter, Liquid versus Trust Gaming. Do you ever see the one whenever we seen the quad C4 kill from Zig?
Was it, what map was that?
Clubhouse.
I've seen the unbelievable Oregon one. I can't remember who did it, where it went through 3 different walls before hitting the right point. This is suddenly the diffuser's going down as well. Sorry, we're reminiscing, but in the meantime, they're living in the right now. Yeah, Gaming get the diffuser down, put themselves in match point in a 3 versus 1. The last battle is a man on a staircase that, well, they know where he is, and he's going to have to do something crazy as a rotate. Wants to just reload and get himself back to a square 1, but they are not wasting. They're just pushing against him and crouching with a pistol spam, trying to find the kill. They can't quite manage it, surprisingly, but at this point, I think, yeah, Gaming, they are completely running away with this. There is, at this point, not enough time, I believe, to get the back and get the diffuser. They're going to try and exit frag on their way, and yeah, Gaming are just...
He wanted the knife.
He wanted the knife, running around and being as aggressive as they were. A fantastic half, a bit of a battle in the first few rounds, and then as soon as they swapped to attack, it was pretty clean.
Yeah, Gaming, 4 attacks in a row and just asserts their dominance. It just shows that, yeah, Gaming, they don't mess about with their rushes. They're so fast, so quick, but that's going to be first map done. We're going to go a quick break. We'll be back with map number 2.
predict the outcome, win the game. Get live coverage and schedules for your favorite tournaments. Analyze, predict, and vote to gain points. Compete with other esports fans and climb the leaderboards. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.